Hey guys, welcome back. It's Brandon.
Hey, it's Carrie.
So in this one, we're going to go over the connection, but we just happened to look up a song that represents a little bit of what we just talked about in the last video, and we're going to tell you what that is right now.
Okay, it's called Three Lock Box by Sammy Hagar. So some of you that are my age or older might remember that. I got to see him in concert in 1979 at Texas Jam. So it was an awesome show. But here's the lyrics to Three Lock Box, and I'm going to leave out the chorus. Suckers walk, money talks, but it can't touch my three-lock box. Oh yeah, mysteries of the days of old. If you find the key, you got the gold. 1, 2, 3 lock box. And he repeats that. Treasures here, sunk in there, buried treasures everywhere. Oh, that's treasures would be sunken would be in the water, and then buried would be on the shore. And then the chorus, 1 lock, 2 lock, 3 lock box. Don't go too far, circle close. The Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, to the Trinity I raise a toast. Oh yeah. Secrets of the Trinity lie within the number 3. So we could look at that as lie as in untruth, or as in they're reclining.
Yep.
There. And so that's where he leaves it. So that's where we want to pick up.
And then we had mentioned also that what did the character Jesus come to do was to find the treasures. And
yes.
And then so when we think of pirates and you look at their booty, their gold, their chest, they open it, and what do they find? They find rubies, emeralds, sapphires, and gold.
Yeah, and so the gold would be the crown. So that's kind of where that's at. Now that would be the, yes, the original would be what I call the one, the son, the firstborn of many. We're the many that comes forth or was made inside that image of the unimaginable consciousness, Father, Mother, oneness. So I know that's a mouthful. So that one did come to look for us, his treasure. But this other one has taken that story or that concept and made it into finding the pearl of great price, or going into a field that was being plowed. You only plow a field when you've been harvesting it.
Right.
And so in this plowed field, this dude buys the field looking for these treasures, these precious treasures. So whatever it is that we are is extremely important to both sides. One side, we get to go to our real home. The other side is deceived and remains here.
Exactly. And that's the whole story of mining for gold. The Anunnaki are mining for gold for their new Jerusalem, or new age, new cage, golden age. It's a golden cube. So let's get into the connection. This question was posed by a good friend of mine. Her name's Jillery, who's part of the channel as well. And she wanted to know, well, how do we make this connection? How do we, the whole go within? How do you know that you have a connection? And, when these, or they, I should say, know that we're going to go down these rabbit holes, they're going to leave us astray thinking that we aren't real, or are we just clones, or all those kind of ideas. And I keep reverting back to, if you are not satisfied with anything that you're learning, maybe you find bits of truth in all of it, but if you're not satisfied, that right there should indicate to everyone how truly authentic you are from an individual standpoint and from a spiritual standpoint. So you do have a connection there.
It does. That is your red flag. It's time to change something and quit listening to that channel. It's fine to pick out bits and pieces, but if it feels like the life is getting sucked out of you and it's just not, quote unquote, resonating anymore, then leave. I mean, anxiety, when I used to do counseling, was one of the main precursors that this body or whatever uses, that gives us a signal that something needs to change. Something's not right in our world. So whether we stay in abusive relationships, or we, do things that go against our consciousness, and then we have anxiety about it and guilt tripping, then that's a signal that something needs to change. So if it's not feeding your soul good soul food, then that is your signal to look elsewhere, to go deeper.
Something I want to add real quick is none of us are perfect. We are born into chaos here, and forgiving ourselves for how much awareness we had at certain points with certain people in certain situations, we have to do what everybody else, the narcissistic, the ego, the false ego, whatever. We have to do what they're not doing. We have to move on from it and keep our eyes fixed on where we're going and not where we've been. Because where we've been, we all realize it's a bunch of lies and half truths, and I'm digging through it. And I wanted to say that we've all lied at some point in our existence here, and it's when you look at somebody and they ask you a question and you do lie, and it's almost instinctual that you do because you just want to dismiss it. But right when you do, there's a moment there that it's almost indescribable. It's a feeling that you get that you're like, that I'm lying to this person. And that little feeling, that notion is that still small voice that we talk about. That's your inner knowing. That's your inner intuitiveness that you need to grow.
Your consciousness, your conscious awareness, and that is your guide. I mean, most of us have heard the Jiminy Cricket song, "Always Let Your Conscience Be Your Guide," as he was trying to teach Pinocchio, which is it could be even a picture of ourselves as we're moving through this system, in a sense, of awakening, or of, maybe it's of the plane souls, PLANE, souls that originate here, that they're awakening or they're enlightening type of thing, and learning to listen to that still small voice inside. And Disney, or whoever wrote the story, was pretty creative in that, but I think it was written in the 1800s.
That makes me think of Free Guy too. I don't mean to cut you off, but that makes me think of Free Guy, where you had an NPC character that was controlled by a higher self that was trying to tell everybody else, we don't have to do the same things every day. We can actually be free within the system. And that's almost like, in a way, what we try and do when we try and wake somebody else up that may very well be of this system, where we're not. And it's almost like we're teaching them.
Well, it is. And so what in Free Guy is that they were all of the characters that were in there every day doing the same thing day in, day out, were programs. And so that was the only thing they ever knew. That was their life. And they thought in there that they had life, that they were living, and that there were these mean people that would come in and do all kinds of things, and they looked at them as heroes because they were so amazing with all they could do. And so they all knew, that at such and such time the bank was going to get robbed, so-and-so was going to get shot, so-and-so was going to die, and those kinds of things. And so one of the characters awakens, so to speak, and he starts asking questions. That's the first symptom of awareness. Well, why do we do this every day? Why does this guy always stand with his hands up? What's really going on? And then this girl, her avatar was in the game, and so they start interacting, and then he realizes that there is a whole nother world besides the one that he's in, where everything is controlled. And he starts realizing more. Well, he put those glasses on, I think.
Yeah.
And then he could see better. So it was changing his sight. So maybe there's something with our eyes. If we open up more of instead of 5%, we get up to 50 or 90. I'd be shooting for 100%, but of our vision, then maybe that would help. Maybe that will be one of the things that will help trigger more awakening in the other people. Maybe there'll be a short period of time where it believes their control laxes and allows that to happen. I don't know, because I don't think this awakening is done. I think that there's still more to come. But back to the movie.
And that place that he's trying to get to is invisible. It's unseen, and it's at the time in which a reset or a closure of one book going to the sequel game was about to happen.
Yeah. And then he was able to build a bridge to that, and then they hacked into that and started deteriorating the bridge. And so it's a pretty good movie. If anyone hasn't seen it, I would definitely recommend it if you can get over the cornball they've got thrown in there. But the underlying stuff is really good. And really, it's part of awakening discernment and stuff is looking at the deeper messages. Instead of seeing, most people just want to stay on the surface. Oh, it's a cute little story, about a guy in a video game. And there's really so much more going on there. So the original question we started off with was, how do you know that you're still connected to the true source, to the Truniverse. And my response would be this: I'm not sure that we are quote unquote connected, but here's what we have. Within the lit souls is the same identical patterns and matter that we entered into this place with, that they can't get it out of us. In other words, we have the same frequencies, the same character and nature, although in diminutive amounts, within us when we start stepping into our quote unquote higher nature or good nature or whatever it's called, when we are empathetic, when we are seeing through things and things like that, and we maintain a sense of our naivety, but that's what got us in this trap. So we've become wise as the serpent, but remaining gentle as the dove. And so there's a lot of truth in that we need to be wise as the serpent as to where we are in this situation, but gentle as the dove, so that we remain within our core. And I'm not talking about soul, I'm talking about our spark or our light within our soul. That's the fractional piece of our whole holiness. So in other words, we still carry within us the very nature and character of our original form in the Truniverse. And so of the ineffable, imperceivable oneness, pattern in matter, or father, pater is pattern, and father, and mater is mother. And we carry that within us. And so when that's how we get out of here, is because our frequency, as we continue to grow in that frequency, the nature and the character of our true parentage, I guess, for lack of a better word, I call it father for no other reason than I don't know. But because we have that same nature and character in us, then we can go back to it, even if we're cut off from it. When it calls, that vibration goes out and calls us by our true name, which, I don't know, it could be a sound, it could be blah, 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 I don't know. But it's something that only we will hear individually. Each of us has an individual one. We don't do the Borg thing where we all got, "Oh, you must come to this sound, bow your knee, thou shalt bow before me, throw me your crown." So we have that special knowing. We just know. I mean, I think I used to raise goats. I love goats. I could walk out in the pasture. Anybody else could go out there and they're like, "Meh, we don't know who that is. Keep grazing." And then I'd go out there and I'd holler at them, "Nat, let's go eat." And man, I mean, they'd throw their heads up in the air and here they'd come running. And it's going to be kind of the same way when we hear our sound coming through the void, the permeable or impermeable circle around everything here. I'm drawing in the air with my hand. Then I think that's our time that our portal opens and we get the heck out of Dodge. That's just what I think. That's what I've come up with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's the signal we'll all get. And it's going to be specialized, individualized for each of us.
Absolutely. And so, for me, I like to go back and look in their playbook, their rule book, and it's called the Bible. And so I look at what can I glean from there that they stole from the true universe, the true original. And I see a little story about all of these shepherds bringing their sheep into one big fold, into one big pasture or pen. It's really a slaughter pen. It's the ones marked for the slaughter, which is numerous times in that book. But anyway, all of them were gathered up. So that could be possibly all of the quote-unquote positively oriented souls. Mm-hmm. And they're all gathered together. And then that includes us. And then from that, we will hear our sound. And that's where in the parable it was Jesus calls his sheep, his own sheep know his voice, and they come to him and he leads them out and speaks to the gatekeeper or the porter to open the door, open the gate. I really think it's going to be that simple, that when we hear that and the one in whom we are made, we go back
straight out
with it. And I mean, when we think about it, hearing someone call your name, it is a frequency, it is a vibration, it's all of these things. And so it's not that it's going to go out there and call, "Hey Carrie, come on, supper time." It's going to be whatever my real sound is, or frequency, I guess.
Which is why they've controlled that.
Absolutely. That's
Kept us
why
in
we
the
have
dark.
these suits on.
Yep.
That can only sense and feel their crap. And most of the time, until we start having an awareness and we lose our naivety, they want to keep us in naivety because then they can do every kind of atrocity to us that they want to. And they think it's funny and delightful and delectable. And so when we become aware of what's going on, that's our first step. And I think that is our first signal to ourselves that we are still, quote unquote, connected without being tied to our original true universe. I think we're cut off here. I think we're really dead. We have life in us, and they can't kill it, but they can suck it dry. And once we leave, the ones who choose to go home, if you don't want to stay here, I just do not believe there's any way that they can force us to stay here against our will. They can't trump that, and that's why that's so important that they keep tricking and wiping memory and deceiving, because that's in their rules, that they can trick and deceive, and that's all through the Old Testament. And I'll be happy to share that with anybody that wants to find out where that is. But that is what they do. Mm-hmm. They're able to do anything to the Goy or the indigenous peoples, the ones that have these bodies and are from here, because they look at us as animals.
Absolutely. So my response to that in closing, guys, would be that you are and have the connection.
Yes. Because of who you are.
Yes. Because you continue to question, because you lead through the heart, and it's just there. It's we say ineffable, it's indescribable, it's imperceivable. It's there and it's calling. And that's why we all feel this urgency, or feel like things are going to end soon, or that we need to exit, but when? It's because you're being called by the ineffable oneness, Mother, Father, imperceivable.
Yeah, and I don't even know that it's an effort required on our part to exit. I just think it'll be automatic. We won't. Mm-hmm. I think we'll be sucked right out of these bodies, to be real honest with you.
In the twinkling of an eye.
Yeah, exactly. And so our true nature will be just gone, because our true frequency, character, and nature will link us right back home. And that's what calls us home, is building that nostalgia for home. What we're longing for is our true home. Even if we don't have a vivid memory, why I lived on, Cranberry Lane and in Heaven Corner .4, bullcrap. I don't care what it is. I just want to go there, mm-hmm. And that's all I know.
Awesome, guys. Well, this has been a good one. The next one we're going to be doing is going to be on the Trojan horses. So look for that coming soon.
Bye.